buenas tardes. Esta va a ser la última frase que haga en español, porque en el siguiente panel, como anticipaba Gonzalo, vamos a hablar un poco sobre cuál es el panorama, ¿no?, en la inversión en Venture Capital en Europa y a nivel global. Durante todo el día de hoy, como sabéis, los contenidos que estamos impulsando en este stand va enfocado a las empresas en crecimiento. Hoy hemos estado centrando mucho en cómo se las acompaña, ¿no?, desde la parte del Venture Capital, desde las instituciones, adelante Andrés, desde las instituciones, ¿no?, y los diferentes hubs. Y ahora vamos a hablar en concreto, ¿no?, pues de la parte más internacional. So now it's when I switch into English, because I wanna welcome to the stage to join me for this panel, Andy Luring from Luma Labs. Welcome, Andy. Yeah. So as I'm saying your names, you can join me. Alessandro Zaccaria, partner in 360 Capital. Azahara Espejo from Hearst International, and Sophie Wood from Foxe Capital and Unlock VC. So yeah. Join me. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so glad to have you here this afternoon, especially because so many different backgrounds, so many different markets in the ones that you operate. So I think that there's a lot to share and a lot of knowledge, no, to share with the audience. So, well, before getting our hands dirty, no, I would like you to introduce yourselves and what's the focus of your fund or the main work that you are doing. So maybe starting with you, Sophie. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vanessa. My name is Sophie Winwood. I am an operating partner at Fox Capital. We are an early stage fund focused on the future of financial services and adjacent technologies. We invest globally. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Unlock VC. We are a platform and community for women in VC. We have over 1,000 women in VC in our community and run events, programs, and training.
Andy.
Hi there, I'm Andy Luring.
Yeah?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Andy Luring. I'm the founding partner of Luma Labs, which is an 100 million impact-driven VC fund. We invest in pre-seed and seed companies that are using technology, new technologies like AI and blockchain, digital security, AR, VR, to create positive impact in the world. And that focus for us is focused around 4 of the SDGs, being health, well-being, quality education, sustainable city, and climate action.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Azahara.
I'm the international director for Hearst Lab. Hearst Lab is a corporate VC of Hearst Corporation, which is based in the States and have operations globally. And our main focus is also pretty similar as Sophie was just saying. We're investing exclusively in women founders at the moment, quite agnostically, investing in companies that we think have some sort of connection with our corporate.
Hi everyone, I'm Alessandro, partner of 360 Capital. 360 Capital is a VC that was founded back in 1997, so one of the first in Europe. We currently have around 600 million in asset under management. We have 2 offices, one in Milan, where I'm from, and one in Paris. And what we do is investing across 3 different sectors. The first one is the historical one, the digital, so software, B2B mainly. Second is deep tech, and third is climate tech. We have it's a multi-platform VC, which we have like dedicated team and dedicated fund for the specific teams.
Well, thanks, Alessandro. We cannot hear us very well, but I think in the audience they can hear us better than we hear each other. So if you see that I get close, it's because it's talking, no? It's just trying to listen to you better. I think that 2024 has been a year of changes, no? Global changes, also changes in the interest rates. I think that also the venture capital investment has started to pick up again, no? But so talking about what we have seen, no, in the 2024, how did you see the landscape, no, of investment in Europe or internationally in 2024? And who wants to start? What?
I can go.
Okay.
We have seen a difference in the way investors approach investments and how they analyze it and how they evaluate companies. I think we used to analyze the differences between women founders and men founders, saying they were more cautious, and they were looking more into profitability. And now it seems that this is a very general trend. I think investors now are asking way more about unit economics, about profitability. There is not that much FOMO anymore. I think people are being a little bit more, putting some more common sense into investments. And I think this is good, but this is also a time of conflict, because entrepreneurs have been growing and they have been learning from a trend that told them you have to give everything, you have to be super ambitious, you just have to ask for money because you have to grow, and then suddenly they face investors who are asking for unit economics, for profitability, which they had never really asked about. So I think it is a bit of a conflicting year, but there has been a really clear change in the trends, and that's what we are seeing, a more cautious investment and more unit economics in the place.
Yeah, I would say there's more insecureness in the market, because what would happen before in America? Would Trump win? Would Trump not win? What would happen in Germany? And then, I don't know the numbers for Spain, but in the Netherlands last year, there were 32% less startups that are founded, sorry. So that's substantial. So what you see is that people
like
are not daring to take the risk.
They want to go back not to less risky business, work for another corporate or another company and not being an entrepreneur.
So that of course has also the effect on the investors, what you just explained in that sense. Yeah.
So startups have less competition to raise money now in the Netherlands, no?
True.
In that way.
On that point of competition, though, I think what's really interesting is when we had this huge boom of the 2021-2022, a lot of companies got funded in the same verticals, and so you had a lot of competitors, and it became very, very difficult to win because you're having to outbid in marketing. All of these companies doing very similar things to you, trying to acquire the same customers, and we kind of haven't yet reached that point where these companies have run out of money and started dying. So you're seeing very, very competitive spaces with not much investors are retracting from those. And you're also seeing that companies entering the market is less competitive because it's never been easier to start a company. With AI, you can build software very, very quickly. And so I think what's interesting about this market, kind of exciting, is you, as a VC, you have to work so much harder to find those areas of pockets of differentiation and kind of, blue ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from another perspective, we are a pure VC fund. What we do is basically we should give back to our investor the money they invested, and maybe with some profit. That should be the whole objective. And what we see in a more competitive market where the valuation are lower and there is a more focus on profitability, in the end there will be like more room for kind of investor as we are or we want to be. That we focus basically on performance of the fund. In the past, also in Europe, maybe US is a bit different, but if you see in Europe, we don't have that many unicorns, like real unicorn, in which you actually do the exit, And with the model that we experienced in the past years, basically, if you want to succeed with your VC portfolio at the valuation of 21, 22, you need to have at least one unicorn. But then I want to see how many VCs do they have a unicorn with a proven exit, So what we see with this kind of new competition will be also interesting to see, like maybe a lower amount of VC funds, and that would be in the end positive for the whole ecosystem, because basically there won't be any more like tourists of VC, but like proper professionals with a track record that can be deployed basically in the ecosystem for let's say a stable and mature system.
We were talking this morning about how more and more there are initiatives also to foster the creation of new emerging funds, more people coming into the investment world. Talking about now about challenges and opportunities for the startups to scale globally, I think Azara was saying that now we focus much more when you want to invest in terms of profitability, seeing this path to the cash. But besides that, what other challenges do you see for startups to scale globally in these markets, and also how UVCs are helping your portfolio companies on that success? And I don't know who wants to start. Andy?
I guess I start. I think with respect to the years before, it didn't change. The major thing is still finding capital for the next round growth. Though it has become even more harder because what you say, valuations went down, so dilution is a problem because you need to keep enough equity as a founder to also secure a next round. So the VCs have been, the follow-on VCs have been more picky, more reserved. So I would say capital and the lack of bold capital, especially in Europe, is the biggest problem. And the second thing, what I do see is also talent. That in these times, people tend to take less risk. So it is good to work for a big corporate. To work for a startup is more risky.
They want to invest also at a different stage, no? Maybe when they're
exactly.
More proven.
So typically with scaling comes like adding more people to your team, and we see if you see at our portfolio how many jobs are open that we cannot fill in. It's really ridiculous, to be honest.
I mean, definitely growth, capital growth is one of them. We've seen a lot of companies in our portfolio. We normally invest in pre-seed, seed stage, and when they reach growth stage, it's way more difficult to find investors here in Europe that are willing to invest at those stages. I think that's kind of changing now, but I think it is still a struggle. But I think for a company that it's built in Europe, there is still a lot of fragmentation when it comes to reaching other markets regarding regulations, cultures, language. While when you compare them to the US, it's like they have this large market that they can just like aspire to whenever they're bored. It's like, this is my market and I don't need to readapt my product, to anything else. I can just go ahead and just promote it there. In Europe, I think a lot of companies still struggle with that. I think a lot of companies that are born in Spain, for example, don't know whether they should expand into Europe, they should expand into the US, or they should expand into Latam, for example, no? So I think fragmentation is one of the things that it's still a burden for companies built in Europe to grow completely.
I think just adding on to that, the speed to growth thing is really, really important, especially as we're seeing this new kind of tranche of AI companies that are going from like 0 to 3 million in revenue in 3 months. And suddenly that's resetting like what hypergrowth means. And yes, we don't know if that's sustainable. They've got to 3 million. Can they get to 100 million? We're not sure. But given the fragmented nature of Europe and the countries and the regulation, then the kind of requirement for hypergrowth is always been difficult. But I think now the standard is a lot higher. And so supporting our companies to reach that growth while, thinking about profitability, sustainability, talent is quite a difficult thing.
To give a different point of view, I mean, on the digital side, I agree with what you just said. My point of view is that you need to be champion of your own country first, and then you can scale outside. That's my point of view. But to give you a different point of view, I mean, we do invest also in hardware. Hardware is a different market in which basically you can be global at day one because you don't care. I mean, you have an asset that can be sold wherever, And if it's a B2B and it's an hardware, it can be done easily, basically everywhere. We have like some seed companies which the first clients, they have Chinese customers or US customers. On that side, I think that also from Europe can be, it's easy to deploy this kind of technology everywhere. Actually, some of the players, if I think like, semiconductors are not in Europe in the end, the clients, So I would say that what we have is, as you said, maybe is the talent, engineers, people with huge capabilities, and I think that hardware is also the answer, in my opinion, for the future of the startup ecosystem in Europe.
Yeah, to face the challenge, also to grow, and continue deploying, like a big talent, to accompany their growth. We were also talking about the effects, the different macroeconomic environment, and changes, that have been recently happening in the US with the new administration, in work. Here in Spain and in Europe, we are focusing a lot on deploying funds, no, for climate, also initiatives to support female founders. But now it seems not that in US that's not going to be the case, and then we saw that as an opportunity maybe, no, for the European market and the European startups and the European venture capitalists, no, also to get an edge there. Are you seeing that in your experience? And
We are unfortunately seeing that very closely. I mean, just the day Trump got elected president, I think in my team they gave like 2 days off for mental well-being to everybody there. But we are seeing it. Like we are having meetings now with different big companies like Microsoft or Google, and they are literally telling you that every single thing they partnered with last year to promote female entrepreneurs or investors, they are no longer putting money into that anymore. And we even have some companies in our portfolio that build their whole strategy on thinking that there was going to be some investment into climate tech, for example, you know, that companies were going to be forced because of regulation to implement those kind of policies, and now that's not happening any longer. So that's really sad overall. I think if you take it at the global macro level, that's really sad. But then from Europe and from our perspective, we have to look into the opportunity that that's going to provide us with. So for these companies, for example, we're trying to guide them on how to, instead of putting the US as their main market, exploring new markets here in Europe as well. And we are trying to lead the investment of investors that were interested in having an impact investment that are no longer going to be able to do it in the US, or at least not that clearly, to come here and do it. And when it comes to DEI, I think it's going to be a proof of concept, you know? It's like now we're going to have two sides. One of them, it's not giving anything into it, it's not putting money, it's not putting any effort, not just that, it's actually rejecting it. Mm-hmm. And here in Europe, we have a chance to say, well, we're going to do the opposite now. You know, let's see who does better at the end of the day. Let's see which companies do better. So I think it is a big challenge from a macro level, but it's also, I think we have to take it as an opportunity from our side.
It could be an unfair advantage, no, for Europe on that.
I think I echo that. It's such an opportunity for Europe, because venture capital is a game of diversification. And how can we believe that we are going to be investing diversely and have diversification if we're not investing in half the population? It doesn't make sense. I think it's our real chance to lean in, and we're seeing some really cool initiatives from Europe, specifically focused on female emerging and kind of established managers, because female investors are two times more likely to invest in female founders. So the EIF has a program supporting diverse emerging managers. The UK just announced a 250 million fund supporting female emerging managers. KfW, which is a German fund, has got a 100 million fund supporting emerging female managers. So we're already doing some really, really cool stuff, and I think it's just going to take time to see that flow through the system.
I would say now's the time that we really see who use diversity as a marketing term and who really want to integrate it in society. And the same for impact. I've heard also the news, and I read the news. I even had one startup founder, when we asked, okay, what's your impact vision? I said, yeah, but I'm not into woke. I said, okay, well, then you're not into Lumo, you know? That's my answer, because we really firmly believe that we can create business models where also the positive impact is linked to the business model, so that every euro or dollar earned is also positive impact. Yeah, so it's just another mindset.
It's a mindset, no?
It's a mindset, and that's the same for I always prefer to say inclusion instead of diversity. And we were talking just earlier about talent. There's a lack of talent, and look here, we are a minority here with smart people on the floor, you know. So I would say it's stupid. In our first fund, we managed to get like 30% female founders. So it's not 50 yet. We are a tech fund, but look around you. You know, we need to search for the talent, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female or what color of your skin is there. You know, like it's a bit stupid that we think about that, and it should not be a theme. It should not be a theme.
Yeah, it should not, no, but still it is.
I mean, I would start that I'm very optimistic. I see that the current also news in the geopolitics will be a huge opportunity for Europe. We can be the new leading, inspiring region of the world from all the aspects. One can be the diversity aspect. Another one can be the climate tech. Yeah, for example, I mean, we were always all anxious as a climate tech investors about this new, Trump influence on this climate tech world, But then you see that last week was released by von der Leyen the new clean tech deal for 100 billion euro investment in clean tech for the next years, So I would say that, now it's the opportunity in which we can take our part in the world, not being any more follower of other region, but to be the leader, to be the one that will lead the way, in a positive way.
And we were already leading from a regulatory perspective. We were already leading the path. We are now having the opportunity to get the money as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking to some US VCs, Californian-based. That's not America. But they said, "Hey guys, you as Europe now really have the chance to get into the lead because you can bring on board ethical tech, which we clearly failed in, which China clearly failed in. So that's the chance, and we should take it. And as Europe, we should take it."
We should take the opportunity, no? Azara, we were also talking, no, how you are now also exploring to go abroad to other markets. Now we've been talking about US, we've been talking about Europe, Spain, and I will ask you later also why you all, no, being abroad, why you are focusing on Spain, but I heard that you are going also to Asia and to Tokyo. What are the opportunities there, and do you think that that's going to be extrapolating also for other funds and initiatives from Europe going to Asia?
In our case, we always look into countries in which we already have some presence when it comes to the company itself. And we are looking into, we're actually already present in Japan. Obviously, there are so many very strong countries like India, for example. It's a country that I think it's gonna, we're gonna be hearing a lot about them. But in the case of Japan, I think it's a very interesting country because it's like a complete different world when you get there. And even the startup ecosystem that they have and the startup culture is completely different. And when you go to Japan, you normally find people that basically when they're 20, they start their career in a company and they retire in the same company. There is no any kind of risk taking there. And the government has realized that because the people act that way, there is also a lack of innovation. So they are trying to promote ways in which they can do it. So for example, if you go to Japan, it is really easy to do an IPO because they wanted people to think that there was an easy way for an exit. So that's something that if you're here, unless you go there and you see it for your eyes, you don't understand it. So we are there, and we are really happy with what we are seeing. Obviously, there is still a big lack of women entrepreneurs there. It is a very conservative society, but the women that you find there leading a company, they're like the best of the best. Like you will meet them and you will be like, I'm gonna give you all my money. So
and you know that there's gonna be the IPO, no? So the exit,
it's gonna be
is certain.
The IPO is in the deck always. So there is always a very clear path to profitability and to an exit, which is actually what investors are looking for at the moment. So yeah.
And this is this something that is like government pushed, also corporations?
I think both government and corporations. I think the government is doing a lot because they feel they have very high educated people there. I mean, they have some of the best universities, some of the best engineers, high space, like everything, biotech, everything. They have it there. But there is not enough people saying, I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to make something out of it, that it's going to be competitive at the global level. So that's what the government is pushing for now. And they're doing quite a bit when it comes to women founders as well. There is still, I think, equity in Japan has more to do with what happens at home rather than in the company, but obviously one thing gets translated to the other. So the government is doing things at the public private level, but there is still a lot to do at home as well.
Okay, interesting. I think there's one theme that we haven't tackled yet, and say why aren't they talking about AI? No, which is I think it's one of the main also topics of 4 years from now this year. And yeah, and I know that AI is like very interesting. I think that is transversal to all the sectors, companies, and funds. But what about regulation? No, because you, Andy, for instance, that you work with also companies from many different countries. What do you see there? Is there an opportunity also for Europe? Is it more regulated, less regulated?
Yeah. I guess we are the most regulated region in Europe with the AI Act, Data Act, GDPR, cyber resilience will come up soon. And I'm often asked in interviews, is it a bad thing, is it a good thing? I think it's both, because coming back to ethical tech, it's good that we give a good example, in my opinion. It has a downside that you have to apply the regulations. But again, I then sometimes put a counter question and say, what if those regulations would be in America and they would still be as bold as investors to put in more money and as also entrepreneurs to just do it, you know? Are we not just complaining too much? We just have to deal with it and get it on, because I believe the majority, in Europe at least, will say it's a good thing that there are some regulations. And I have to be honest there that what's possible, what's not possible is a bit difficult here, because not too long ago, with the 7 biggest Dutch VC funds, which we are one, and the Sovereign Wealth Fund, we were asked to come to the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and we are an impact-driven fund, and we were asked, hey, you invest also in deep tech, AI, and mainly. Can you start doing dual use? Can you start also invest in companies that also can have applications for the military? And then you have the question, what's the ethical part? We said, okay, offense, definitely no. We're not going to build missiles or help with that, but to defend the border, yeah. Tell me.
There's an opportunity for sure, no?
And
as well, it's a sad one.
Exactly, but it's a sad one, but a really good one. That finally, as Europe, we understand that we have to be independent, and that will give a lot of opportunity. But as a first step, dual use or military is an important one to boost that market. But yeah, who has the answers? Where's the border of ethical and non-ethical?
Yeah. So, well, we are running almost out of time, but as promised, no, I was saying before that coming from different countries, but you are all focusing in Spain, no? Well, Azara, of course, because she's Spanish, no, and that's a very good ambassador that we have abroad for the ecosystem. But why, no? Why do you decide, no, your funds, your companies to operate here in Spain? I know, Alessandro, that you are even opening an office in Madrid very soon. So why do you see that the Iberian market, no, Spanish market is an opportunity for VCs? And and why you decide to come here and have some presence? So.
I can start. So, I mean, 360, I mean, we do invest all around Europe. We have 2 offices, one in Milan, one in Paris. Of course, France and Italy are the most important markets for us now. I mean, if you see the geography, Spain was the missing piece, let's say. That's why we are thinking to open an office. And considering that, I mean, what we do is moreover investing in deep tech and climate tech. So software, hardware, but those specific topics. You know, in Italy there is not that much competition also because the ecosystem is a bit, I would say, green. France is very competitive. I mean, the French market is big, and basically it's difficult to get new deals. And for us that we've been there for more than 20 years, it's also difficult for us. So just imagine. We see that in Spain there is let's say an opportunity to enter from this angle, you know, because there are a lot of maybe investors in the digital ecospace, not that much in the deep tech and climate tech. So that's why we want to enter in this market in order to see the opportunities that also this market with the engineers, the talents that they have here. I think that it's pretty similar to also the Italian condition, and that's why we want to leverage our knowledge and our know-how to invest also more in Spain as we have done so far.
I think when a country has good living conditions, at the end of the day, it naturally attracts talent. I think we were born with the talent here. I think we have always been a country that has put a lot of attention into education, you know, how well-educated people are here. Maybe there is still a need for more promotion from the government itself, but we are seeing how, I would say especially Barcelona in comparison to Madrid, it's becoming a tech hub. You know, we are pretty strong in different sectors, like for example, biotech, you know, like many other European countries are missing that part. We have it here. And we are seeing so many foreigners just coming here. I mean, I think Norsken here in Barcelona, it's a great example of that. You go there and you're like, is this Barcelona?
No.
You know, like you find people from everywhere in the world creating, people that just came from Australia. Why did you come from Australia? Well, I've heard, you know, there is a good quality of life here. There are investors, there are entrepreneurs, there is a good networking scene, and we are still cheap. You know, like that's the thing. I mean, we cannot say it very loud, but we are still cheap in comparison to other countries, which makes it easy to grow a team, you know, to reach that growth stage. So I think we are becoming an easy, good place to build, which is good.
Yeah, weather is nice, no? So that's always a good selling point. Andy?
I'm not going to say you're cheap, but...
The food, no? The food.
But it's true. No, but we over the last 4 years, with our first fund, we have been inviting people to send decks to us, and then we have been looking at, okay, what we invest in. So in our technologies, our SDGs, where do the quality decks come from? So that was phase 1 of our research. Phase 2 was, okay, where do we see the startup market being booming? And you have you need some elements for that, and that's in our case, because we invest in tech engineers, good engineers, so good education. It's a good quality of life, and affordable, and that together for us was a conclusion that looking at the total of Europe, we expanded to the Norske House and here in Barcelona, and to actively invest in this region. And so far we have been pretty.
So far, so good.
pretty successful, I believe. So we are happy. Yeah, but it's the elements which you just mentioned that makes it very interesting for foreigner VCs, and typically we also put in a higher ticket than a Spanish VC would do, and then you can match it. So there's more capital.
There's room to grow, no? The tickets
room
invest.
to grow, yeah.
Okay, Sophie.
I'll be quick. I think we'll be sitting here in 5 years' time, and Spain will be like a huge, very successful startup ecosystem. And anyone who didn't get in early were like, why didn't I start early? Like, if you look at the rise of France and Paris, like when the startup ecosystem starts going, it's like a networks effects business, and it just grows like exponentially. And I think we're seeing that start in Spain, and so yeah, just excited about the future.
Okay. So just to close the panel, no, because we were talking about what's next, no, and so one trend, just very quickly, one trend that you see for 2025, 2026 in the ecosystem.
Oh, I'm nerdy and I like accounting and tax. It's kind of cool. So technology that enables better accounting and tax, because they also both suck.
Andy?
I thought I was to go last, but okay.
Well, you can
But I
go
could
last if
think
you
about
want.
it. No,
I can.
there's so much. 2025, I see the rise of Europe. That's
The rise of Europe.
the rise of Europe.
The rise again, no?
Start of the rise of Europe.
I think I will still focus in biotech. Any kind of application that AI can have to biotech, that will be my bet.
Alessandro?
Yeah, I mean, no one said AI, so I need to say AI, you know, to cover that on the panel. So I see that also for Spain, there could be like an interest in Spain to invest in.
Okay, so I think that was it, no? I want to thank you all again, no, for sharing this panel today with us, and thank you for the audience, and well, big applause for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.